Hey, if you see one of these in your backyard, have I got the people for you to call? Hey everybody, Barry Weintraub, another HuffPost Weird News. With me this week, as usual, Lee Spiegel, our editor of All Things Unexplained. And this is a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot, and with us today, the people who are working very hard to explain Sasquatch and Bigfoot, the Yetis. From Animal Planet's Finding Bigfoot, Matt Moneymaker and Ranae Holland, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Matt, quickly tell us, you have a show. It's on cable television, national cable television, Animal Planet. It's all about
Sasquatches, absolutely. And this actually shows one of them. A lot of people think this was proven to be a hoax or proven to be a fraud. It wasn't. That was kind of exploited that way. But this shows an adult female Sasquatch, and it's really real.
Now, we're going to jump into this in just a moment. In addition to you two, you have two other cast members. Tell us who these folks are. This is a shot of you out there in the field.
Yeah, here we have Cliff Barrickman. He is our evidence analyst. This guy is a footprint track nerd, if you will. Great guy.
And
then Bobo Fay from Northern California, lives in an area where there's a lot of Bigfoots around, had a lot of experiences with them, does these great calls, and does really good doing detective work, finding information from local people.
Right, the calls and a whole bunch of other media. There's so much to talk about. You can find all this in Lee Spiegel's columns on Huffington Post. But Ranae, if you can, the quick background on how Bigfoot first became a story.
Well, Native American culture, within their culture, there's stories of Sasquatch all throughout North America. But as far as white man is, back in the, say the late 50s, Jerry Crew, building some roads in Northern California, finds these tracks. Interestingly enough, the reason he cast them, he didn't want people thinking he was a drunk logger. Goes nationwide, all over the newspapers. Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson come out of Yakima, Washington, a couple of cowboys background. They go down there with cameras. They want to do an expedition. Now the controversy is, were they already doing a film? You get this iconic photo, and the controversy today persists.
So in '67, you got your first footage. I just want to point out, Ranae is a research biologist. She's your skeptic. Matt, you've been an enthusiast since you're 11 years old, and you have been following this thing for years. So let's watch the famous Patterson footage, and you folks tell us what it is we're seeing. We're not actually, here we go now. What is it what we're seeing?
This is a stabilized version. It's in black and white to be able to show the resolution better. And basically you're seeing something that's about 6 foot 7 inches tall, probably weighs over 500 pounds. It's a female. If you were to put somebody in a costume and put it right next to it to try to match it, you can have a blank check to try to do it, you would see that this thing has longer arms and shorter legs proportionally than a human. And you can't really tell that by looking at it by itself. Again, when you do the comparison, you see the anatomy, the skeletal structure of this thing is not human.
Now, Ranae, your field is riparian systems, which I have just learned today, is the ecosystems on either side of waterbeds, rivers, and you study all kinds of apes and similar animals?
Well, I have a background in physical anthropology my first time through school, but yeah, I'm a riparian scientist, if you will. And everything that's within this habitat. Now, is Sasquatch real or not? What are we looking at here? I'm a little bit on the fence. We were fortunate enough to go to the exact location with Bob Gimlin, do our recreation, and you're either looking at an undiscovered species or you're looking at somebody who has done today the most elaborate hoax on the planet. I want to know, if it's not real, how did they do it?
Well, and a lot of people, when you say an undiscovered or unknown species, many people have wondered, well, is this a possible missing link between apes and humans? Because that's always been a question in science.
Right, and I can give you the short answer. Yeah, a lot of people ask that. The idea of what a missing link is, again, there's like a kind of the chain in the development from between apes and humans. Do we have all the links in that chain? A lot of times it's a philosophical thing, like what species would help humans see like kind of an intermediary step between animals and humans. So there's two different ideas of what they are. But in terms of, are these things human ancestors? I think these things are more distantly related to humans than even chimps and apes. I think these came out of Asia, not out of Africa. In other words, we're related to apes and chimpanzees. And this is much further back in time, went off and did kind of a parallel evolution. So yeah, these aren't ancestors. These are not, anthropoids at all.
Now you say these. How many of these are there?
Wow, so you only thought there was one. Yeah, this is a population. They live in different parts of the country. All the mountain ranges, the Rockies, the Appalachians, even in the Catskills and the Adirondacks, there's some of them that live up there. And so there's probably for all of North America, Canada, Alaska, Florida, everything in between, probably between 2,000 and 6,000 of them, which sounds like a lot if they're all in one place, but if you scatter them out, they're definitely the rarest large mammal in North America.
Well, I was going to say, and Ranae, you're an expert in the physical biology of places like bogs and marshes and rivers and forests. With so many people now actually going out on hunting expeditions for these things, why haven't any remains been found?
Well, it's interesting you ask that, because if this is a real animal, not a man in a suit or a woman in a suit, then and it's a real species, where's the fossil evidence? Now, one of the theories is out there is that this is Gigantopithecus, where there are some fossil remains, about a shoebox full worth of mandibles and molars. What is it? That's what we're trying to find out. I want to prove that it's real. I want to collect the evidence so that we know definitively one way or the other. But that's one of the running theories.
So when people tune into your program on Animal Planet, Sunday nights, cable TV, check your local listings, you're going to see a continuous series of explorations of both the forests, the wooded areas, and these artifacts that you're talking about?
I mean, yeah, Barry, I can't wrap my head around that Sasquatch is real. But yet I am fascinated by this phenomena of these people who keep telling me they're seeing this thing, close encounters. I mean, yes, there are the people out there that I don't believe their story. Or there's a considerable number of them that are misidentifications, but there are still a prevailing good number of reports where these are credible witnesses who are positive that is what they saw. I can't wrap my head around it, but I'm running around in the woods at night with my buddies out here trying to get this close encounter so that I know one way or another.
Is there any evidence or any reports that Bigfoot or Sasquatch is dangerous?
They're dangerous to dogs. They're not dangerous to humans, though. They're afraid of humans. Yeah.
Have people been reporting missing dogs?
Oh, people have. Yeah, they absolutely kill dogs. They will. I mean, it doesn't happen a lot, but if they're coming up to a place over and over again, I've talked to plenty of people who've had their dogs killed by them and seen the dogs being thrown in the air way up high over a fence and found them torn apart after seeing a Bigfoot. It's not that common, but dogs will chase after things. You know, dogs will run, you know, as if it's a bear. And so I think if a human were to behave like a dog, be that aggressive, then they would probably be dangerous to humans. But humans back off, they don't want to have anything to do with each other. And even with children.
So far on your show, now that you're into season 2, what's the most compelling piece of evidence that you've come up with?
Well, I don't know if you've seen season 1, Lee. I would have to say our expedition in Oregon, to me, was very compelling. Bobo and I have taken some electric motorcycles. We're coming down this ridgeline cliff, and Matt are broadcasting recordings from the area. And interestingly enough, it's once we'd stopped that, and then Matt and Bobo are broadcasting calls back and forth to each other. And I hear a whistle in the woods, which is that in and of itself isn't anything, but I hear a call that initially sounds like Matt. And that's what you capture, but it's what is off in the distance. And this is where it comes to me. Is that alone enough to make me believe? No.
No, it wasn't a whistle.
Well, no, later on, a call. But it's this vocalization that sounded organic. Nothing that I'd heard of in the woods. And this is the part of the country that I've spent a lot of time doing field work. Either someone went to extreme lengths to hike up with some type of amplifying device a mile up a creek draw with no roads to entertain me. Well done. It's that, or else Sasquatch are real.
So there was definitely something there, and you both have slight variation on what it was.
Oh, it responded to our howl. Right.
Now, Lee, there are so many elements of this story, and these folks are covering so much stuff, and you're reporting on this in Huffington Weird News in your column. And this show, every Sunday, Finding Bigfoot, on Animal Planet. You can check your local listings, HD, regular, all kinds of aspects of it. And it's just fascinating. I'm sorry we don't have enough time to just discuss the whole thing, but check Lee Spiegel's column on Huffington Weird News, and check these folks out, Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet. And thank you for checking us out on Huffington Post Weird News.